Welcome, Viking fans, to the first ever episode of the Viking Insider Live. One of our goals is to bring you more behind the scenes information with our coaches, our student participants, and also our parents. Just kind of give you a little bit better idea of what's going on in our programs and what's taking place. You'll be able to watch all these episodes at HowVikingsTV.com. You'll also be able to watch it on Periscope as well. So today in our first episode, we have Coach Chojnacki joining us. Coach, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing? Thanks for having me.
Good. Coach Chojnacki is our head football coach at Howell. Been doing some pretty unique things with his program, so thought we'd have him on today. Coach, you got a new addition to your family this year. So how's that going? Being home with your new addition?
Yeah, it's been that part has actually been really good. So we quit sending them to the babysitter. I guess that first week of our spring break, and definitely catching up on some lost time that we lose during the fall, and then when we're into winter weights and all that good stuff. So it's been nice catching up with him. He's more of a daddy's boy than mama's boy right now at this point, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that, a lot of people don't realize is just the amount of time that goes into our programs and what our coaches and things do and the amount of time and sacrifices they spend away from their families. So it's always great whenever we get, some free time with the family and get to do some of those things. So that's great. One of the things I want to talk to you about today is, so how are you and your coaching staff helping to stay connected and engaged with your players in the program and just keeping them motivated during this time of being away from school?
Yeah, so I guess when the initial school closure was announced, what I did was I broke all the kids down and assigned about 8 to 10 kids to their respective position coach and had them touch base with the kids. Just let them know, one, make sure they're following the rules as far as social distancing goes, and then also just make sure that it was important that they stay on top of their grades, and then just let them know that we're still here for them, even though we're not connected in the sense of being at school or whatnot, but we're still there for them if they ever need anything and to touch base with us, and we could still help them through grades and academics or anything that might be going on in their everyday life. So my position coaches and myself, we sent out individual messages on a huddle messenger, and it was really cool to see what my coaches came up with and just how much they cared. I asked them to send just a quick message, and a lot of those guys, they spent a lot of time formulating those messages and letting our kids know they care about them. Other ways, as far as workouts, it seems like we've adjusted. We're trying our best to keep them moving. We're using the rack performance. I guess 3 or 4 weeks ago, it seemed like I was on a webinar using with the rack performance guys, trying to find the way. They created a system that made it more user friendly for kids to do it at home versus being in the weight room with us. And we've sent those workouts in. The kids are working hard. So I'm able to see what the kids are doing, if they're working out. And it's been pretty impressive too. Some of the contacts that I've had with parents sending me, literally, Sean, about 10 minutes ago, I got an email from a parent, and the kid was pushing his car up the driveway, a little defensive lineman. So our kids are working hard, and hopefully they know that us coaches, we're here for them, and we're ready to get back to work.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that's kind of unique about Howell is just how connected our players, our coaches, and our families are. I think what we do definitely goes well beyond the sport. And I think, just with not seeing our players and our kids and families face to face, I think that definitely, creates some challenges. But I definitely think there's a lot of great things coming out of it. And, definitely love the ways that you're connected with your kids and with the program and things like that. And you kind of talked about a little bit how you're preparing virtually and how our kids are getting ready for the season at home. Kind of what does a normal week look like for the football program, like working out from home or meetings or things like that?
Yeah, so last week the kids didn't have any meetings just because us coaches, we had one defensive meeting and then I guess two offensive staff meetings last week. And then I had a booster meeting as well last week virtually. But this week, Thursday night, we're just going to get on here and meet with all the kids, have a little Google Meet, and talk about some things we're doing over the summer, and set some dates as far as starting to shoot out playbooks and stuff through Huddle, and making sure our kids are at least when they show up in July, they're going to be mentally prepared and ready to go. I think that's you talk about it all the time, and it may sound like cliche in football is like, how do you handle adversity? And this is obviously adversity, and you're just adapting and finding other ways. And it's been pretty cool to utilize some of these tools that, most of us didn't know existed. And it's been pretty cool and rewarding.
Yeah, it's awesome. I know you talked about, one of the kids within the program pushing their car, up the driveway. What's the efforts been like within the program so far? Have you been happy with it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's just one example. I think this weekend I had 2 or 3 text messages from either kids or parents as well. One of our parents, he's got a squat rack and dumbbells and everything, but one thing that he was lacking was an Olympic platform, and he made this. Him and the family project on Saturday was to make an Olympic platform. And it just goes to show you like how great of a community it is that we get to serve, and, how committed these parents are to, not just their kids, but this entire program. That's what makes Howell pretty special.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's probably been the most impressive to me over this whole situation is just how positive our coaches have been, how positive our kids have been, how positive our families have been. I think everybody's being creative. Everyone's, finding a way. They want to prepare. They want to be successful. And, I think that's one of the great things about Howell is whatever obstacles there are, I think our families and our kids and our coaches, they step up and they just find a way to make it be possible. And I think that's a big part of being involved in activities, being involved in sports is, overcoming obstacles and overcoming hurdles and things like that. And this is just one of those things that I think is going to prepare them later on in life when they have some obstacles and things they need to overcome. But, in regards to the football program, what do you want your players to take away from this experience, or what do you want them to gain from, the situation that we're currently in?
Yeah, so a lot of our kids, there's a lot of stuff you can take from this. It's one is, live in the present and don't take anything for granted, like don't take for granted being in a weight room, working out with your teammates, because obviously we've seen that's going to be lost for a couple of months or a few months. And that's one of the biggest things is like, and then cherish your time when you're with your teammates, when you have that opportunity, because obviously it's been taken away. And hopefully our kids learn. And, obviously for the spring sport kids, their season was canceled. Certainly those kids, have learned, maybe that lesson the hard way. But certainly want our kids to be, just not take anything for granted. We talk about a lot in football, and you never know when your last snap is going to come, and it's the same way. You never know when your last snap is going to come when it comes to being together as a team. Like for example, the spring sports this year for basically all across the nation.
No, that's awesome. One thing before we let you go here is maybe kind of give Viking fans and the 5,000 to 6,000 people that show up on Friday nights during the fall, give them kind of a little preview of what the 2020 season is going to look like. Have a lot of returners on offense and defense. I think just got a good group of strong character kids, but kind of give the fans at home just a little bit of preview of what they got to look forward to this fall. Yeah,
Sean. So I would say, out of my 3 years now being there, this coming up on my 3rd season, I'm pretty excited. I'm excited with, what we were getting done in January and February with workouts, and then into March. I told them at a booster meeting, it's going to be the talent that we have is pretty impressive, and I'm fired up for this season. And that first day that we're allowed to be together, it's going to be, there might be tears in my eyes because it's going to be pretty awesome. The energy, the excitement that's going to be out on that football field is going to be something like no other. So fired up for that to get going.
Yeah, I'm excited to get back as well and to get things going, definitely for 2020, 2021. So, well, Coach, we definitely appreciate you having you on and being the first guest. And hopefully we'll get things rolling here in July, and we'll have you back in July and get your thoughts on how camp looked and how your guys prepared during this time. So definitely want to thank you for being on. And hopefully Viking fans will come back and enjoy the Viking Insider Live. Again, you can follow it on howvikingstv.com, and it'll also be on Periscope. So, Coach, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me. Go Vikings.